So believe it or not, we have spent over half a year with MLB The Show 17. The game is halfway through its life cycle. And this is going to be a very interesting time of year for the game because, the postseason's going on, and once the postseason ends, baseball is not really popular for like 4 or 5 months, so people are not really going to be searching for MLB too much. But one thing that is going to be discussed a lot is MLB The Show 18, what new is coming into the game, what's going to change, all that type of stuff. But we know every year what we're getting. Now, obviously, MLB The Show is going to add new features, new missions, stuff like that. All that stuff's going to be added every year like it always is, but we know what we're getting. It's baseball. It's not like Call of Duty where it changes like the time period every year, or Battlefield goes back and forth. Like it's baseball. We know what we're getting, but we're just getting some new stuff with it. But across all sports games, one of the most highly talked about topics is who is going to be the cover athlete of next year's game. And that is what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to give you guys my prediction on who I think is going to make the cover of MLB The Show 18. What we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the last 6 years of the game, so going all the way back through MLB The Show 12, and we're going to take a look at who the cover athlete was, what they did in the year previous that warranted them being on the cover, and then we're also going to look at the time they were announced on the cover, kind of see if there's any sort of trends or any sort of patterns we can follow. So let's start off with MLB 12 The Show. This one had Adrian Gonzalez from the Boston Red Sox back when he was still playing in the AL East. This one had him on the cover. Now, since this is MLB 12 The Show, this obviously represents his 2011 season and the seasons previous to that. So let's take a look at what he did in 2011 with Boston. He was an all-star, he was a gold glover, he was a silver slugger, he hit 27 home runs with 117 RBIs, he hit almost 340, so he was definitely one of the best first basemen in the game that year. He was actually announced as the cover athlete on November 9th, 2011. So that's got to be just a little bit after the World Series, right after baseball kind of hits its peak in the postseason. He was announced. Hopefully they were trying to keep that momentum going, you know what I mean? So then if we look at the game next year, it's going to be MLB 13 The Show. This one, of course, had Andrew McCutchen on the cover, and in his 2012 season, he was definitely a beast. He finished third in the MVP voting. He was an all-star, a gold glover, a silver slugger. He hit 327 with 31 home runs, 96 RBIs. This was actually the year prior to his MVP season. He won the MVP in 2013, the year that he was on the cover. But Andrew McCutchen actually wasn't announced as a cover athlete till January 11th, 2013. So he didn't even get announced in 2012, like after the postseason or anything. He got waited all the way until January to be announced. Next up, we're moving to MLB 14 The Show. This one had Miguel Cabrera on the cover. If we look at Miguel Cabrera's 2013 season, this was his second of his back-to-back MVP years. This one, he hit 348. 348, that is not easy to do, man. 44 home runs, 137 RBIs, absolutely killed it in 2013. This wasn't even his Triple Crown year. He almost had a better year than his previous Triple Crown year. That's insane. For Miggy, similar to Adrian Gonzalez, he was announced on November 4th, 2013, so just briefly after the World Series ended, Miggy was announced as the cover athlete. Next up, we're moving on to MLB 15 The Show. This one had Dodgers sensation Yasiel Puig on the cover of it. I actually thought this one was announced way later than it was, but I think I was just tripping. Like, I don't know. It's just maybe my memory. But Yasiel Puig was the MLB The Show 15 cover athlete. If we look at his 2014 season, he was an all-star, but it definitely was a slower season than his 2013 breakout season when he was a rookie. But he hit 296 with 16 home runs and 69 RBIs. Like I said, not as good as his rookie season, but still a pretty good numbers, or pretty good year for the Dodgers in terms of numbers. But there was a lot of hype around Puig at the time, so I think MLB The Show tried to take advantage of that, and he got the cover. He was actually announced December 5th, 2014. So he was announced after November when Gonzalez and Miguel Cabrera were announced. He was announced the month after, but still not farther into the year like Andrew McCutchen was. Now we're going to move to MLB The Show 16 with Josh Donaldson from the Toronto Blue Jays on the cover. 2015, that year in review, probably his best season ever. He won the MVP that season. He was an all-star. He was a silver slugger. He hit 297 with 41 bombs, 123 RBIs on the season. Definitely a shining spot for the Toronto Blue Jays that year. He earned himself the cover on 2016, which was pretty solid. He was actually announced not until December 11th, 2015 though. He was a little bit late. He was the second latest out of all the guys I'm talking about, just behind Andrew McCutchen and just ahead of Yasiel Puig. And of course, last but not least, MLB The Show 17 featured none other than the kid Ken Griffey Jr. on the cover. We all know we're still playing that game to this day. Ken Griffey Jr. is a little bit different. We're not really going to go over his stats because we all know what Ken Griffey Jr.'s career was like, one of the best baseball players of all time. So the fact that they even got him to be in the game, let alone be the cover athlete, is amazing. He was announced the earliest out of any of the guys that I'm going to talk about. He was announced October 27th, 2016. He didn't even get till November, and they let it go. They told everybody that Ken Griffey Jr. was the cover athlete. Now, this one, I think, out of all of these, is more of the outlier than the rule because Ken Griffey Jr., it's not every day you get somebody with that caliber to be on the cover of your game. So I think they wanted to get that information out as early as possible to build up hype for the game, to drive pre-orders. So Ken Griffey Jr., I think, kind of gets a little bit of a pass for me on this one because it's Ken Griffey Jr. So with that information, we can probably infer two things. Now, it's just an assumption, just saying this is not a fact. But if they have a very, very high, highly requested legend going to be on the cover of their game, they're probably going to announce him as early as they can. So maybe right after the World Series ends or, right as the World Series is going while baseball is really, really hyped, they're probably going to announce that legend then. But if they have a current player, I guess unless it's somebody like Mike Trout or Bryce Harper or somebody like that, I don't see this announcement coming until probably early December at PlayStation Experience. But now that we have talked about when we can possibly expect an announcement, I'm going to talk about who I think might actually get the cover spot. So one thing you guys may have noticed in the 6 previous years of MLB The Show that I was talking about, every single cover athlete was a hitter. They don't really showcase a lot of pitchers on the cover because I think it's kind of like, when they want to attract like a casual baseball fan, a lot of people are just going to want to see how far they can hit the ball, see how many home runs they can hit. There are some people that are really into pitching and they want to see a lot of strikeouts, but I think a majority of people are going to be more inclined to get a baseball game when they see somebody swinging a bat as opposed to throwing a ball. So that's just my personal opinion. I don't know if that's correct. I don't know if there's data behind that, but that's just kind of the hunch I have. So I'm mainly going to focus on hitters. So people like Kershaw, Kluber, Sale. I'm not going to really think those guys are going to get into the cover spot of the game. They could totally prove me wrong. That'd be sick, but I think it's going to be a hitter. So if we take a look at some of the guys who had incredible years, obviously you have guys like Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, Mike Trout, Jose Altuve, Cody Bellinger, Nolan Arenado, Charlie Blackmon, Marcell Ozuna, Joey Votto. I could go on for days and days with guys who had good years. But they usually try to get guys that are high up in the MVP race, except for maybe the Yasiel Puig cover. You had guys like Agon, who was in the MVP running. You had guys like Andrew McCutchen, who was in the MVP running, actually won the MVP. Miguel Cabrera obviously had 2 MVPs. Josh Donaldson won the MVP. These type of guys were like the best of the best in the year they were. Now, personally, of course, I would love to see Mike Trout on the cover of MLB The Show 18. Look at this. Look at this cover. Tell me that doesn't look absolutely amazing. But I don't know if he's going to be on the cover because he already has that, I think, what is it, RBI Baseball or the mobile app? I can't remember which one it is, but I'm pretty sure he's already on the cover of one of those, and I don't know what the contractual obligation is there. I don't know if he can be on the cover of 2 games, so I don't think Mike Trout is going to be on the cover. I guess I could probably see Bryce Harper on the cover. I think that would actually be pretty cool too, to see still a younger talent but one of the best in the game be on the cover. Personally, if I'm going to choose a live series player that I think might make it onto the cover, if I take a look at all the data and I take a look at everything in front of me, I personally think that we are going to see Giancarlo Stanton on the cover of MLB The Show 18 if my predictions or if I'm following the trends of years past. He had almost 60 home runs. He had a crazy amount of RBIs. He did hit 280, but that's not really that big a deal. But he is a very, very prime MVP candidate. Right now, I do have Nolan Arenado winning the MVP in the National League, but Giancarlo Stanton is right there. I could see him winning it over him. I could see somebody like Goldschmidt in the running too, but I think it's going to be Stanton. He hits so many home runs. He's such an electrifying player to watch. I think they want to highlight that guy, and I think a lot of people are going to be inclined to play the game when they know on the cover you have a guy with extreme power like Giancarlo Stanton. That just kind of gets you to want to hit. So Stanton is my live series player prediction, but just for fun, because this is all speculative, let's see. I'm gonna try and, you know, get you guys my ideas of maybe if they're gonna add like a premier legend, kind of like Ken Griffey Jr. I'm gonna give you guys a couple predictions as who I think could be on the cover. So one thing I want to make clear is that I have no idea what their, you know, characteristics are of people that are in the game and people that aren't. So why is Ken Griffey Jr. in the game and not Derek Jeter? Or why is Jeff Bagwell in the game but not David Ortiz? Like, you know, I don't know how that all works. I've tried to figure it out, but I can't find a correlation. So this is just going to be purely for fun and guys that I would love to see on the cover and I would love to play with in the game next year. So MLB The Show 18, my top 3 legends that I want to see on the cover of the game. Number 1, of course, Derek Jeter. I would love to see Derek Jeter on the cover of 18. I think that would be so cool. Number 2, this is actually going against what I said earlier because they haven't had one before. I would love to see Pedro on the cover of a game. Look at that. Pedro Martinez on the cover of 18, throwing a heater. Come on, that's sick. And of course, last but not least, the guy that I would love to see on the cover of MLB The Show 18, if it was my personal pick, Vladimir Guerrero from the Angels. This is probably the least likely out of all of them, but I would just love to see Vlad on the cover of the game. That'd be amazing. That would be everything I want as a baseball fan. But that's my predictions for the cover, guys. Like I said, if it's going to be a live series player, I predict it to be announced early December. If it's going to be a marquee legend, I probably predict it to be happening early November, late October. But let me know who you guys think is going to be the cover athlete. Do you guys have any predictions? Do you disagree with what I said? Do you think that this is the year of the pitcher? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments. But thanks for watching this video, guys. Drop a like on it if you did enjoy. Subscribe to the channel. More MLB 18 videos are going to start being pumped out on this channel. It's time to start getting hyped about next year's game and start speculating about what is going to be coming. So thanks for watching, guys. Really hope you enjoyed. I will see you in the next video. Peace.